basically passing around a big archive of songs. And this is what concerns me, and we had a discussion about it on the previous shows, is that people just assume that when you pass a lot of files and big volumes of things, it's illegal, and that puts in a very bad position any person who's trying to do it legally or discouraging people. When people hear torrent, the first thing they think is probably like a pirate flag or something. That's the image in some people's mind, but it shouldn't be the case. That's just how lots of people who develop Linux actually distribute their distros, and that's how. That's also how some people distribute their music, although I think they're reluctant to do that because it kind of gives them the illegal feeling, like you got it from torrent. It's kind of like painted with a torrent label on it.
I mean, as I said last show, I get all my distributions from Linux Tracker, and Vodo as well. I get a lot of the Creative Commons works off there. There's some great sort of amateur movies and things like that released on there, and Creative Works, a very, very good website. But yeah, like I say, uTorrent, can't see the fascination myself. Can't see why people want it. Apparently, when they did a survey, the uTorrent developers, the Linux app was the most requested feature that they received. So that's why the Linux version is coming out very shortly. But like I say, I can't see what it offers that Transmission or Deluge doesn't. Maybe somebody who's listening to this can fill me in, because I'm hard pushed to find any feature I require. When I'm on Linux Tracker, I just obviously download the torrent and that's it. So that will remain a mystery for the time being. Another quick bit of news. We've got F# being picked up by Mono. This is an article over on Phoronix. I read it. And it's just all about it.
Originally, it's just basically, if you look at the citation, it's basically a summary of what Miguel wrote in his blog, which is tirana.com or something like that. And if you look at the original post, it's been marketed as a cross-platform thing, which I kind of urge people to pay attention to. So the Mono project was originally being marketed as kind of like, well, we will help, it was made by the same person who was responsible for creating the GNU desktop. So you'd think probably would promote GNU/Linux and BSD. But now it's been promoted as, well, it works on Windows, it works on Mac, and it works on other platforms too. And it might work on Android. They talk about PlayStation and all kinds of things. And Mono is about trying to bring .NET, in this case F#, to as many platforms as possible, but it doesn't actually prioritize so much the GNU/Linux platform. That's what concerns me personally when I saw that.
I mean, it's the whole. I mean, we've covered Mono before, and I don't particularly want to dwell on it. That was just something that stuck out at me when I was looking for what I just wanted to quickly mention. I've got another couple of shorts. If you've got no issue, I'll move on to those ones. Urban Terror, a game, a first-person shooter that I covered on TechBytes about a month or so ago. That's now moving away from being open source GBL. I'm assuming that it's going to be some sort of proprietary release that's going to be the next version. It's called Urban Terror HD, and there's very little news on that at the moment. Again, that's come from the excellent Phoronix site. So that was a talking point for me. Going down my list again, WordPress has blocked a blog. This was an article on Torrent Freak, and it's in regards to a chap who's had a link on his blog to a piece of copyrighted material. He's a Spanish chap, and he's had a warning notice from Cedro, which is apparently the Spanish Reproduction Rights Centre. Now, he's ignored that allegedly, and his site's been prevented from being posted on by WordPress. Looking at it in more detail, it appears that, or he's alleging that, Cedro has posted the takedown notice or the warning notice onto the comments section on his blog and not actually contacted him directly. And in any case, it's all academic because the link they had on his blog doesn't work, and it's not actually linking to any copyrighted material. The material in question was a book, apparently, and it's some ebook. A lot of fuss has been made about it, I think, and it's really, I mean, I've been a WordPress user for 2 years, coming on 3 very shortly, and a lot of fuss has been made about this, how in some way infringing his rights is the inference by some. My take on it, from reading sort of the comments and what's been going on, is it's not really, when using a service like WordPress. I've used it for, like I say, for about 2 years, and when using a service like this, I don't pay anything for it, and it's free, and you play by their rules. That was my take. I didn't know if you had an opinion, Roy.
Yeah, well, I remember actually quite a few trolls were trying to make a big deal out of the fact that we weren't hosting any of the files on the OpenBytes website. And one of the things we did try is to upload the files to the site. And it wasn't possible because they don't seem to be able to accept or really tolerate any audio file, or as far as we could tell, at least with OGG format, and we tried MP3, they don't seem to accept that. And that is, again, the assumption of people only being able to share something illegally. If it's music or if it's media, it must be illegal to share. That's kind of hurting genuine people. Like, even if we try to put a podcast out, we have to go through the same, we have to jump through the same fences that people who do things, illegal things, actually go through. One thing one thing I told you at the time was I'd heard about 5 weeks before, or maybe about a month or so, that WordPress had all kinds of issues with blogs that are kind of portraying themselves as presenting music and trying to cover music. What they do usually is they upload lots of songs they're not supposed to, and making copies and trying to review these things and kind of expand on them. But it's not exactly fair use if they put all the songs, and what they have to do then is to basically put down the blogs or remove the songs, or they have all kinds of complaints going towards the company, which is called Automatic, and they run the WordPress.com domain. So that just in general, that's just one of those cases where it's really easy to try and blame Automatic with two T's at the end, because it's Matt Mullenweg, who's the founder of WordPress. But the company itself receives a lot of pressure. You don't see, in this case, the threats because of apparent or alleged infringement by this guy, and they have to deal with. They have a large bulk, of how many? Do you know how many blogs they have by now?
I can't remember the quoted figure. It was a lot. I'm sure I saw a million reached, and I can't even remember when that was reached.
I was part of the beta when the thing launched. I think I was like number. I'm not sure which number I was, but I was kind of friends with Matt at the time, and he was just testing the site WordPress.com, and I was one of the first accounts to kind of help him test the things. And I remember when he reached the milestone of 1 million registered, and of course you have to take into account lots of them will be spam blogs or splogs, and it's really hard to try and count them, and some of them are basically blogs with one entry, or a blog with quite a few entries, and then no activity in 5 years. In this case, it will not be 5 years; it'll be maybe 3 years of no activity. But it's really not a good measure to say how many blogs. You might want to ask yourself how many blog posts and how many active blogs, or what happens with Microsoft when they move all the existing users to WordPress.com. They would quote a very reasonable figure, like 30 million, but the real number, if you remove all the spam or people who are actually active, it's something like 1% of this was actually active users, which means that Microsoft perhaps had 300,000 people blogging, but they claim 30 million. And that's very typical for a company to do, trying to exaggerate the numbers and trying to count spammers as legitimate stuff and use that to their advantage.
I think just briefly going back to the MP3 OGG issue with WordPress. I think, to be fair, I didn't actually look any further into the issue as to why it was being refused. For some reason, I've got the opinion or got the feeling that if I was to pay for the extra space and become a member of the WordPress blog that way, I believe that I might have been able to upload them. I'm not quite sure if it's just because I've got the completely free service that I'm not able to upload them for that reason. So that's something I haven't looked into, because now obviously they're hosted with MediaFire, my end, and that's completely free, so I don't have to worry. I can link it from my site, no problem at all. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been very happy with the WordPress service. And at the end of the day, like I say, the big deal was made of this on the net about this this takedown notice and this Kindle book or whatever ebook it was.